Do any of you have someone in your life that everyone around you seems to dislike, but you see them as a huge part of your life? They may have taught you many lessons on how to live your life. They're always there to support you in any way they can, or you just see something in them that no one else does. That someone might seem annoying to everyone else, and they might seem like a really tough person, but you see through all of that and see someone admirable. I have someone like that in my everyday life, and I see them as a huge part of it. That person, for me, is my grandpa. Throughout my life with my grandpa, he's taught me many life lessons, and he's always been there to support me and my family, because family's the most important aspect of his life. He also has taught me to just go with the flow and don't worry about what other people think. My grandpa, the attributes and lessons he's taught me, have made my life much more meaningful. My grandpa has taught me many lessons throughout my life and ways to live it. What he has taught me has made my life more meaningful, and I get a lot more satisfaction of actually doing things with my time. My grandpa's a farmer, and I have to help out all summer, every summer, throughout my life, because that's what they want us to do for some reason. Throughout my life with my grandpa on the farm, and watching him do what he does, he's taught me to value hard work and take pride in your work. He's also taught me that when something needs done, do it. My grandpa never procrastinates, and when he needs something done, he does it. He always has a solution and always has a plan B if anything goes wrong. Which is a very helpful skill for a farmer, because our farm is very unpredictable, and I am actually very surprised they ever let us down there as little kids, because unpredictable little kids, an unpredictable farm, they don't go well together, and a lot of bad things happen. A lot of unpredictable things happen to the cows too, which is bad because he has a beef farm, and the cows are his entire income, his life, everything. They like constantly miscarriage or get sick or die, and he has to find something to do with them all the time. A recent example of this actually was when he accidentally broke a cow's jaw with a skid steer, which he's using to feed them, which is basically a forklift they use on the farm. And that cow, after it broke its jaw, refused to eat for about a week, and they had to figure out something to do with it, because if it didn't eat, it was going to starve and die, and if they didn't find someone to sell it to, that's a lot of food and money going to waste. But after a week of him and my dad scrambling to find someone to buy it, which they usually do months in advance, wouldn't you know, they figured it out, which I've realized my grandpa is very good at, finding a solution to problems. There haven't been a lot of lessons he's taught me, because he's not a very deep person and he's working a lot, and I usually have to help out, but even though he works all the time and doesn't get a whole lot of time to spend with us, whenever he gets the chance to, he takes it. My grandpa loves his family, and it's like the main way he goes about life. He acts so tough all the time, and he doesn't show his compassionate side much, but around us, he does, especially us, his grandkids, which I've noticed is a pattern with a lot of grandparents. They try to spoil their grandkids in any way possible. My grandpa doesn't, though, because he's like that. He's like an old, fashion kind of grandparent, I guess you would call it, because he doesn't try to spoil us, he just tries to make it more enjoyable to be with him, which usually involves ice cream, old shows, or just paying us for helping out, which doesn't happen very much. He shows us his love in those ways, which are pretty normal, I'd say at least, but he also shows his appreciation for us in some really weird ways. Not even just to us, his grandkids. An example of this is that once he was in an elevator alone with my grandma. And I don't think they were going anywhere important, luckily, because my grandpa thought it would be a really funny idea to jump in the elevator. And my grandpa's like a big guy too, and when he jumped and landed, the elevator broke. And they were stuck in there for like an hour, and my grandma was so mad at him. So it was like the reverse effect. He thought it would be funny, and she hated him. So yeah, he loves us, but sometimes in some really awkward ways. And it just has something to do with the way he shows himself. My grandpa loves to toy with people, like just random people. He'll walk up to anyone and just say the most controversial, stupid thing, and they'll just be like, what? Like they have to take a step back and think about why he said it. And it's funny to all of us, but it's not funny to them because now they don't know what to do. He just says what's on his mind sometimes, and he really doesn't care what other people think about him, So whenever he says things, he just goes with it, and however other people react, he doesn't care. Even talking about himself to others. Usually it's not something weird, it's just he doesn't say a whole lot. Even so, recently he got inducted into the Vesterberg Athletic Hall of Fame, which I thought, what? My grandpa? No. And even he thought that too, because he said to me, and I quote, they must have been drawing names from my hat this year. But while we were at the Hall of Fame banquet, and they were saying his achievements and stuff, he had just as many achievements as every other person there. So he's really humble, which is what I came to realize after that, and he doesn't care what other people think, which is an attribute I've learned is very important to live by. He doesn't show himself like his full self very often, but if you get to know him and see him from the right angle, you'll see he's a really cool guy. The attributes and lessons I've learned from my grandpa have made my life much more meaningful. He's taught me to value hard work and take pride in it, and always value family over everything else, and just go with the flow, and don't worry about what other people think. So some advice from me. If there's someone in your life that maybe close family and friends avoid, and they're just really tough and hard to get to, maybe try to look at them from a different angle. You never know. You may find a whole other person underneath.